Welcome to the Empowered Podcast, episode number 68. I'm your host, Ellery Wells, and today marks the very first in a series of podcast episodes to help you take your online business and your online relationships and turn them into offline, real-world experiences that you can share with your community and grow your brand, grow your influence, and grow your business with offline events. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm doing something a little bit different. I've had this idea in my head for quite a while, but my friend Marshall really pushed me over the edge. He pushed me in a new direction, and I want to take just a second to tell you where you can go and get some information and some really cool stuff to help you build your business, where you can go and download those things. So if you go to empoweredpodcast.com/68, the number 6, the number 8, you go to empoweredpodcast.com/68, you can get a free PDF that shows you all of the things that you're about to hear in this episode. It'll give you why you should start in-person meetups, how it can benefit your business, how you can get started, anything from picking a date and a venue to finding speakers, and even how to promote your live events. And I can tell you that the information that you'll get in this episode, what Laura shares with us today, is exactly the process that I used to start live events here in the far north Austin area. My very first live event was in November of 2014. I held another one in December of 2014, just over about a month and a half after the first one. And these live events are on my planner for all of 2015 as a way to grow my brand, grow my influence, meet new people, and really have an impact with the people who need to hear some of the information that I've learned from people like Laura, from people like Keith and Lou, who you'll hear in upcoming episodes. Stay tuned for those. They are just absolutely incredible. When I didn't know how to do live events, I went to some experts, some who are just having some incredible success with starting live events, and it all starts with this episode with Laura Elgueta. Stay tuned and we'll go right into that episode. Remember, go to empoweredpodcast.com/68. Grab the download so that you can start building your brand and influence with live events as well. Let's go right into the episode. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Ellery Wells, and today I'm going to be completely and entirely selfish with my podcast. As I have mentioned before, one of the greatest things that you can get as a benefit of starting a podcast is free advice, free coaching, and consultation with people who you might not be able to get it from otherwise. And today, I have the pleasure of talking to my friend and the organizer of the podcast South Florida Meetup, Laura. And I should have asked you how to say it. Is it Elgueta?
Elgueta.
Elgueta. I was close.
You were good. You were good.
Well, thank you, Laura, for coming on the show today. Again, just like I said, I know you're the master at organizing these events, and I'm looking at here in Round Rock, Texas, how I can do the exact same thing, but that's so far outside of what I know how to do. I thought, well, who better to ask than Laura herself? So again, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for letting me be selfish and getting some advice from you.
Of course, it's always nice speaking with you, and with that intro, I just don't know what to say. I feel amazing. It's a great start of my day. And I gotta say something though. I could not have possibly done this without our friend in common, Jared Easley. He's also amazing at this, and we just kind of got together and got this meetup going. But it's kind of like a co-organizing thing that I'm actually feel honored that I'm kind of next to Jared doing it.
Well, when everybody who's listened to the show knows I spent I don't want to say a miserable week in Miami because that's not quite fair, but a very humid and hot week in Miami, and I had the chance to speak at your event, and I just felt really welcomed. The podcasting community is very welcoming in general, but I felt like a native Florida resident there, and you are definitely a part of that. And so thank you for making me feel welcome. And I know Jared helped, but I know he couldn't have done it without you either. So,
oh, that's nice. Yeah, we were so happy to have you, and kind of speakers like you just enrich us as a group. So we were super thrilled to have you, and you gave a really good speech for all of us. So it's actually the honor was ours, and yeah, that's what podcasting kind of does. It's such a warm and welcoming and generous community. So it's kind of like an extra, pleasure and nice to kind of get these people together because they're just genuinely nice people.
Absolutely. And with me and fellow Texan James Kenson coming down there, Texas may take over South
Good. Texas always takes over, so I'm good with that.
There you go. Well, Laura, I was at every Thursday. I host a kind of mastermind co-work breakfast meetup at a local La Madeleine. Do you guys have La Madeleine in Florida?
No, doesn't sound familiar. Mm-mm.
It's like a French bistro bakery stuff. I mean, they teach you how to speak French in the bathroom, count to numbers, and it's kind of a cool little place. But there's one right by my house, and I was thinking, if I'm going to host something, why not make it absolutely convenient for me? So I did, and I've been doing that for a few months. And they've got this meeting room off to the side of the restaurant. You can close the doors, and it's not quite as big as the space that you guys have there in Florida with Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if you guys still meet there, but it's maybe 2/3 the size. And I'm thinking, what if I started doing something similar? Maybe it's about podcasting. Maybe it's about just networking with other people who want to, get out of their day job and do something else. I don't know the exact form that it would potentially take. But again, I thought, why not go to Laura and see how that process goes? And then somebody I know is going to listen to this, and I go, well, maybe I can start one too. And here's the steps that you and or Jared took to get the space, get the word out, promote the event, how you got people to come and those kinds of things. And and even before that, if you could tell me maybe some of the highlights of the benefits that you've gotten out of being associated with this group. So if you could start there, and then we can go into maybe the step-by-step process that you took.
Super. Yeah, great. Yeah, it's a great way to start just so people get pumped, because it's an amazing way to create really good relationships in whatever space you are, right? Podcasting, online businesses, whatever it is that you want to do or accomplish. Having these meetups is a great way to make those connections and kind of deepen them. Even if you have them online, take them offline, because it just makes them that much better. And let's just say you not profit, that's not the right word, but when you become friends with these people. And so if you need a hand for anything, I've met them individually, again, for lunch or like with Danny, for example. They're so generous. So you really develop these great relationships, and you get these great accountability partners, which for me, it's a very good plus, because we all need kind of that, the partner that will tell us, hey, how you doing with this? Jared is also great at that. So that's for me one of the biggest benefits. You kind of take these relationships that you created on Twitter, Facebook, however you have your online, networking set up, and then you take them offline and you make them that much stronger. And then you have access to people that otherwise you wouldn't have met. In our case, for example, Jared spread the word on his end, I spread the word on my end, and we just kind of started connecting people to this meetup group. And Jared brought some amazing people, very knowledgeable, like John Dennis, Alex from Alex Designs, and they all contribute so much to the group and to us, with their advice. So that for me is the biggest benefit of the meetups.
Did you meet new people, or were you already somewhat familiar with the people who show up on a weekly basis?
No, I met new people from the start, and every meetup that we do, I meet someone new. and interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many people are coming? Well, let me ask this first. How many have you guys had so far? Probably 5 or 6, or is it more?
No, actually less. We'll have, I think, 3 or 4. Our next one is actually October 4th. And, between the summer and we had the Jared had podcast movement, so we decided we're going to skip, sort of, we kind of put a put a bigger window between our last one and the next one. But, everybody's so excited always to kind of meet up and when is the next one. So that's encouraging that we just kind of keep going. But, for the number of meetups that we've had, we've grown a lot. And people and the interest has grown. You were mentioning about venues. We just, for this next meetup, and you've been to that Dunkin' Donuts. It's the nicest Dunkin' Donuts I've ever been to. It's so nice.
Absolutely.
It has like this little Zen garden. So it's amazing. It has a really nice meeting space. But so for this next meetup, as you grow as a community and podcasting, well, our meetup is about podcasting, but, we have really, again, good social media names in our group. So we kind of started looking for new venues because we're growing. And, for example, in our next one, we decided, Jared is going to do a presentation on how to podcast. John is going to do about email marketing, which we all need to learn more about. And Ted Rice is going to present about all of what he learned at Podcast Movement, which is great for us podcasters to recap on that. We just have great presentations. So it's going to be 4 hours instead of our usual 2. And
wow.
So it's going to be intense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's great because, all these, you were in the group and some of the people that are there don't have a podcast yet, but they're thinking about starting one and they need all these tips. And Jared is great at guiding people through this process. So I think it's going to be great.
Are you guys keeping it on Sunday night or Saturday night, or y'all moving it to a different time for that longer one?
No, we're going to do Saturday. It's going to be 5 to 9.
And that's what's crazy. I mean, it's not like we're going to go to the movies or go out clubbing or whatever. People are taking time out of their Saturday night, which is normally, a party night or a hang out with friends night. But you are hanging out with friends, but you're also building an online business. You're connecting with like-minded people, and it's a testament to the value that you guys are bringing, that people are willing to give up not just 2 hours on a Saturday, but 4 hours on a Saturday. And then I'm sure you guys are going to probably go out for dinner and drinks and hang out time afterwards. So and it's people who genuinely like each other that are coming together. It's not like, one of those stodgy corporate events where like, man, I got to go hang out with these people because I'm expected to. Yeah.
And you brought up a great point. Is people are not, looking for the exit. And you were on the one that you were, we were there, and then we were like, oh, let's just hang out. Let's just go grab dinner. And we went and spent another 2 hours together after the 2-3 hours that we were already in the meeting. So obviously we like hanging out with each other, and we can't wait to see each other and get together again. And so this one's going to be a longer one. And like I said, maybe we'll go and grab a bite. But, it's just a great group, and we're really happy to see, even though we're all local, how life gets crazy and you just don't see each other all the time, even though you're local. Yeah. But it's great to just kind of, yes, we have a date. We're meeting at this time, and we're all going to get together and hang out and talk podcasting.
So you're meeting new people, not just random new people, but people who have goals and are success-oriented. They're like-minded individuals, and they're coming from, up to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away to drive to this. You're getting the accountability, just additional connections with people that you never probably would have met otherwise. And that is what I would love to be able to bring to the North Austin community. And I wouldn't have had this idea if not for really you guys. And I went to the La Madeleine yesterday. We're recording on a Friday morning. And I saw like their sign, rent this space, and that got the ball rolling. And I was like, man, how can I do this? I have no idea. Maybe I should ask Laura.
You should definitely do it. It'll be a hit.
So if you were in my position, or maybe take us back to I don't even know how far back, maybe 6 or 7 months, when you and Jared had this idea. How did you pick a spot? How did you reserve the spot? How did you promote it? How did you create enough value to people so that they would want to spend their Saturday night? Maybe that's family night, maybe it's date night or whatever. Right. How did you convince people to come in? Walk us through that process.
Well, so, the whole thing started, I think, with Jerry and I, probably close to April. Close to April, I think it was, that we were having these conversations like, oh, we should get together and meet, talk podcasting. And then Jerry's like, oh, how about we extend it? I'm like, oh, that's great. I will let's make it a group. And so we both on our end, we just started first with setting the date, because that was important, just to say, okay, for us, for our calendar, let's just make sure we have this date. And then
how far out was that date? Was it like 2 weeks? Was it a couple months? How far in advance?
I don't remember. I think it was a couple months. But and we're getting slightly better at it. But we're always like find the event, like the space, or confirm it, like very close to the event. So like a couple weeks to the event. So we're not perfect. We're far from perfect. We're getting better at it. But everybody's so committed to it that they just kind of, I think we're thankful that they bear with us on the whole like dates and meeting space. But anyways, yeah.
But that first one was a ways out.
Yeah. We definitely knew that we wanted to do it. And then we were having so I'm glad to hear you already have the venue, because one of the things is always the venue, right? That Dunkin' Donuts is really nice, but it's always busy because it's nice. And it has a really nice meeting space and it's very affordable. So, we were always running like, it's taken, it's not free for this date. Let's change the date because we really like to meet there, and just always trying to find a new venue. So that was how it all started. First the date and then the venue. And then sometimes we had some flexibility if the venue didn't work. But somehow it ended up working out till now.
Do you have to pay to rent that room?
Yeah, it's a little bit less than $13 an hour, and we spent like 2 hours, around 2 hours every time. So we kind of take turns with Jared and we just take care of it. It's not a huge. It's an investment, but it's not.
Have you guys and since you're kind of established, this may not be the best route to take, but did you guys ever consider, charging $5 at the door to get in or anything like that?
Yeah, we did. And we decided that, for right now, that wasn't what we wanted to do. We just wanted to kind of build the community, our podcasting community in the area, which I think we're accomplishing, and create that genuine, relationship again with the group, which I don't know that it would have deterred them from, attending, but certainly we want new members to come in and feel welcome, and not like we have like this, this other agenda of making money. So eventually, we're always reevaluating what we're going to do. But for right now, we kept it free because we want to add value to the community of podcasting here and build the community, and we want to create more podcasters. So,
well, just for frame of reference for you and for everybody else, the La Madeleine here, again, I don't know if this fluctuates, depending on what town you're in, but one of the catering managers here in Austin, I was texting with her about it, and she said, quote, you have to spend $50 in food or beverage for 2 hours. So $25 an hour maybe. So you're getting maybe a better deal than I'm getting. So $50 for 2 hours. I don't think I would charge for the first one, but maybe highly encourage people to
donate or
grab something to eat.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't have that prerequisite that we have to consume, which is, again, it's really nice, and that's why the place is always taken. But sometimes you have to, maybe look for another venue that's a little bit high up on the. There are other places for this next meeting. I was about to tell you, I love co-working spaces, and there's a really nice one that opened not too long ago here in Fort Lauderdale, which is a little bit north of Miami. and it's called Access Space, and they're really great guys. I'm always trying to tap into the Latino community here, so they're Colombians, and I've been to the space, I loved it, and so finally I asked them if they were willing to kind of partner up with us and just kind of give us the space, and we'll give them, we'll help them out with social media and our networks, because they're kind of trying to spread the word even more, so that they already are, because it's a great space, really. So they said yes. So that's another thing. If you have a relationship somewhere in your network that will be willing to help you out with space, I think that's a great way to go too.
Yes, I don't think that's something that people immediately think about, or at least it's not, or I don't. Like, how can we trade time? How can I promote your business and you let us use the space for free? So very cool.
Yeah, so that was very cool, and also I'm working on, because it's so many hours, I'm working on trying to get us some food. I know a caterer, so maybe she'll be on board and we'll get some food from her, again with the same concept of she's trying to get her a new product for her business up and running. So I'm like, okay, we'll help you promote genuinely, because obviously we're going to be eating her food, and the same thing with the space. I think it's a great space, so we'll, again, and it's always this concept of partner up with people that actually will add value to you, and vice versa. Right. So I think this is going to work out great. I can't wait.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I was listening to, I don't know if you know Craig Carpenter at all, but he does the Modernpreneur podcast, and he did an episode about getting sponsors for anything. And there was this girl named, I think it was Shannon Cherry, maybe. She's talking about how she's gotten sponsorships for all kinds of stuff, Starbucks even. Right. And here you're telling me something almost the same thing. Try to find a win-win-win, a win for you, a win for the other business, and then a win for the consumers of the food, or the consumers of the Starbucks in her case, and really try to find a three-way win for everybody. Yeah. And so there's got to be something to that, because you're having success. She's built a business around it, and that's very encouraging. So find when you started out, you put the first day a couple months out, and you said, we're going to have this. How did that first one go? Walk us maybe through that first 2 months process. How did you promote it? How did you get the word out? Did you have a speaker, or was it more of a hangout time?
No, I guess it came together. Like I said, we're pretending that we have everything well in advance. And I'm sorry if you hear some background noise. I'm kind of in a conference, so I'm in a spot that I'm trying to be in a quiet nook, but it's not so quiet sometimes. So basically, we said, yeah, we'll do it. Let's do it. And then we finally got the space, and we got the date. And so it kind of came together, I would say, like 2 to 3 weeks before. Jerry had his friend James Kinson, also from Texas, coming in to speak, and he had a great presentation. Cash Car Convert is his podcast, so we had a great presentation. So that was our first speaker, and we got some people together. We all introduced ourselves, and the way we spread the word, back to your question, is we started like just tapping onto people in our network. I'm huge, like I love Twitter for creating relationships and meeting people, and like I said, when possible at all, take those offline, because it's better. It just creates a stronger bond, if you will. And and so I started saying, hey, you podcast, are you in South Florida? And a few people got back to me, and then so that's how Danny came on board, which he's you met him. He's a great podcaster. He has a huge audience and is very successful in his niche, which is video games. And then the next one he presented also with you. So again, that's how you start building these meetings up. And another way that works out great for us is Meetup.com. We created a page there and promoted it through there, and quite a few people came from there as well.
Would you recommend using Meetup.com? I've looked at their platform. It's like $20 a month, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. To be honest, I'm terrible at that. I think I paid one fee for. I thought I paid a fee for a set number of months, for like 6 months or something like that. I will have to get back, and I can get back to you and send you a note on the numbers if you want to put them up on, I don't know, your show notes or your blog. Yeah,
I would love to. Did you look at any other platforms to host your like Eventbrite or anything like that?
Yeah, for example, for this one, we did both, right? So we did meetup.com. I set up a page there. The thing with Meetup is people are, when they go there, it's a search engine for events, for meetups precisely. So so it's good because it gives you good exposure of people that are looking for what you're offering, right? And particularly in whatever topic you want to hold your meetup on. There's all kinds of meetups there. So that works out great for us. And then we also do the Eventbrite. So since you can RSVP on both sides and we don't charge, it wasn't a huge deal for this one because we have the space. We want to make sure we have seating for everybody, and we may have the food deal. So we need to know, we need to have a better count on who's going to show up. So we're kind of advising all of our attendees that RSVP through Eventbrite. So we created that for this event, and we just are trying to promote it exclusively through Eventbrite. And by that, I mean sharing only the Eventbrite RSVP link so we know who's going to show up, and then we make sure we have a good count on our meeting.
And how many people do you typically have? I think when I was there, it was 25-ish, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're like, I think close to 30 on meetup.com.
That's crazy.
So it grows. And yeah, the number of... It's just amazing. I got to tell you, Ellery, I'm a huge fan of this group, not only because the people that are part of it are so amazing, but it just created so many great relationships. Everybody, like new members, I get into conversations with them. I become friends with them, and people that are completely new to my network, to Twitter, to whatever I connected with them. So I see huge value in this.
Well, what's crazy is how many people I knew in Florida who were there. I mean, I knew Donald Kelly. You and I didn't really know each other before I was planning the Miami trip, but Jared, I think I said Donald Kelly, John Harrison, and I knew a handful of people, and they were all there. Probably not there to see me, but to see you guys and be part of the community. So you guys do have a really, really fantastic community there in the north part of the Miami area. What has all of this done for your credibility in online business, in social media, in podcasting? What are some of those benefits in addition to the group, but like not just the accountability part, but the credibility and authority part?
Right. Well, I'm talking to you right now, which is great. That's one of the things, like, if I wouldn't, again, being a co-founder of this, you probably wouldn't have thought of me to talk to about meetup groups. So that's like proof right there. And granted, we met at this meeting, and but again, we wouldn't have met if it weren't for you presenting our meetup group, right? Maybe down the line we would have crossed paths through Jared, because we're in his network. But again, it just opens up the doors to all these people that maybe would have taken you much longer to meet. And for me, credibility, it's a successful group, in my opinion, and we have great members. So when people, and again, Jared is also great at giving credit when credit is due, and he's, again, one of the most generous people in the space that I know. So he's always, oh yeah, here, talk to Laura. She's the co-founder. And, people meet me as the co-founder of this group. And sometimes it's not someone that, contacted Jared directly. He's like, oh, you have to meet her. And so I think that's important when you're doing, also, if you're not doing it yourself, just keep in mind who you're doing this with, because it's kind of a relationship that's ongoing, right? You have to kind of align and see what you want out of the group, and again, that you have the same goals for the group. So it's like in any other partnership, you have to be aligned, and Jared is great. So I'm very thankful that he kind of considering doing this with me together. So for me, for my credibility, is people know me as the co-founder of a successful podcasting group in South Florida, and I'm really excited about just always thinking, and we obviously our members too, about how can we make it grow even more. How can we help the podcasting world, like the movement, as Jared said it, grow and be even more popular than it's getting right now. So that's our goal, and we work towards that. And as working in this group has exposed me to all these people as a co-organizer, right? I helped put this together and it's successful. So that's what is done for me. It's kind of like proof that I can do this, that I can do groups, I can do events and get people together.
Heck yeah. I think outside of these like social media hubs of San Diego, Nashville, for some reason, I don't know why that's so popular. But the meetup that you have started is probably one of the most successful ones that I've seen. I know people all over the country, and so do you. But outside of San Diego, where Pat Flynn, John Dumas, a handful of people live, you guys meet consistently. You have consistent numbers. You have a growing community there. So absolutely. A couple more questions for you, though. You keep mentioning the co-founding part. Would you suggest that me or anyone who is looking to do something similar should we have a co-host, or try to do? I don't want to say do it on our own, but let me just ask that: hey, should we have a co-host? Or co-founder?
My advice, because of my experience, is yes. It's always great, because just think of what you're trying to accomplish, right? You just the notion of getting these people together is just connecting with people, and having a co-founder would just kind of enlarge your network, especially when you're starting out, that much more, right? So we'll expose you to people that you wouldn't have met. Like if I wouldn't have done it with Jared, I don't know that it would have been successful at all. So I would suggest yes to co-found. Obviously there are pros and cons. I don't have any cons with Jared. I love doing this with Jared. But what I'm saying is, again, we are totally aligned on what we want from this group, and what we wanted to accomplish long term. And we're always connecting. What can we do? What can we do better? What can we grow? Should we do this? We're very connected. And as a group, is beyond co-founding. We involve all the members to make decisions for the group, right? Like, what would you like to do next? Would you like a presentation on what?
How do you guys figure out that format instead of just coming together and hanging out and being a meet and greet? You guys, I mean, I don't know how long I was up there, but me and Danny, and you mentioned James did the same thing. I didn't have slides, but I came and talked with notes for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or something like that. And it was sharing that kind of information. How did you decide to go that route as opposed to just come and hang out and meet like-minded people?
Well, I think when we had conversations with Jerry, we wanted to be of value for the group, right? We didn't want to just... don't get me wrong, networking is great, and we also, one of our things that we're talking about, Jason Mason, who's also part of the group, said, hey, we should definitely do something else, because I think that we're, like you were saying, we're friends, so we want to hang out and do friend-like things, like, oh, let's go bowling, let's go do this. So, but besides that, we wanted to add value, right? And again, back to the goal of the group is, awareness for podcasting, get podcasters in South Florida together. So, like you said, sometimes in Florida, you feel a little bit out of the way, so we wanted to kind of start building this hub of podcasters. And so we want to say, okay, we want people to get something out of it besides the networking part. And we want people to learn. How can we help them get their podcasting up and running if they don't have one? Or improve their podcasters and get them more subscribers. And, again, cross-promote in our group, which is a big thing that we do. We genuinely like sharing our content. And when people accomplish, I finally launched my podcast. It's up and running, it's live. So, I'm so excited, and the group has been so supportive. So again, this is all part of being a member of this group. And so we wanted it to be valuable. And we thought having presentations of people like you that are successful in the space was valuable to our members.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess you could go and hang out with, but that they may add value once or twice, but then you could say, well, I've already met these people. They're already in my network. I don't necessarily need to go. But if you're looking at, I'm trying to remember what I talked about, just the benefits of podcasting or something.
Yeah, you were very inspirational about how you got your business up and running and your story. So I thought that was valuable, so people that are, you never know exactly what mindset people are in when they come in. And maybe you said something that you definitely made a difference with me. I'm like, oh, this is great. It's very inspirational when you have those moments of doubts. I think I saw a post today that was saying when you're thinking you can't do it. And it's exactly that. It's adding value, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a how-to thing, but what you did was inspirational and valuable for a group.
Well, thank you. So you start the first meeting a couple months out. You started exploring venues, and you pay around $10 an hour. The very first one, you had someone come and teach or talk or present something about the specific topic. I'm trying to remember all of the things that we have gone through. You had 3 or 4, and you leverage someone's presenting information, teaching of some sort every single time, and then after the official meeting is over, then you can be more social. But the purpose of the meeting is to learn, connect, and learn. And what am I missing? What else do we need to know?
No, I mean, you did a good recap. Yeah, we do this socializing after, and that's also very valuable to all of us because we actually talk to people that we know that they're doing something that we want to learn or we want to replicate for us. And like I said, everybody's very generous. So that's great. The promoting of the event, again, you can use Eventbrite. You can use Meetup. I suggest meetup.com just because, again, it's like a huge search engine for what you're doing, right? And try, what I did is I created little picture. I like visuals for like Twitter. And so I created pictures, who our presenters were, spread the word, use everybody's network, just kind of, again, spread the word, just start. Like what I also like doing is when someone in your network is specifically interested in it, just talk to them directly. Hey, at blah, 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 would you like to go check out our meetup? I know you're about to start or thinking about a podcast. And just kind of always be on the lookout for, like a couple weeks out to the meeting in your feeds, just little things that will prompt you to say, this person will be great for our group. And again, we're trying to be open to everybody because everybody, you don't never know when someone can add incredible value to your group. So just always be on the lookout for that. And you don't have to do it all the time, but maybe like a couple weeks out, you just really pay attention to what's going on and just tell them, hey, we're having this, you should definitely come in. That kind of thing.
So for me, podcasting and starting a podcast is one small, it's a decent sized portion of my online business. Should I focus a meetup on podcasting because I enjoy it and it's fun, or would you maybe suggest that I focus on online business as a whole?
That's a really tough question because it depends again on what your goal is for this meetup. For example, if you want to create awareness, like I'm a huge fan of podcasting. So for me, it was great. Like it was a no-brainer. We're going to talk about podcasting. And that's why I reached out to Jared to begin with, because he was a podcaster in the area and that's what I wanted to do. And I was where I was heading and I wanted some advice from him. So that was why it was a no-brainer on the topic. And then sometimes, obviously with podcasting and online business, you kind of, the lines get blurred, if you would. Like, we talk about email marketing, but all tools that you can use for the success of your podcast. So as far as for you, you kind of have to think about what your goals are, not just the short term, but the long term, right? So, I mean, you can obviously change directions, but it's fair to the members to kind of have, a path of where you're heading with this meeting. So they know that they're going in and they're gonna, and it's also better for your group because then it's going to continue growing steadily because now they know why they're there and they want to continue going because they're adding value to the topic that you decided was going to be. If it's podcasting, it's podcasting. If it's online business, then they're learning something new on how to grow their online business every meeting. So that's my thing. It's really up to what you want for your group. And if you have a co-organizer, then you're just going to get the two minds together and see what will work for both of you and what you want to accomplish. Maybe it's just for us, it started very defined on let's create awareness for podcasting in the area. We really wanted to meet other podcasters in the area, and we did. So I think that it really helps when you have a clear goal of what you want to accomplish, because then that translates into your members knowing what they're getting into and being just as excited as you are about the group.
Yeah, I guess one of the big questions that I use and ask people when they're really trying to find their core business ideas is just the question, what do you want to be known for? And once I thought of the question, once I discovered whatever resource pointed me that direction and then answered that question, I felt like there was a few like gas thrown on the fire for me, and it helped clarify everything. So I think with this meetup, maybe I need to spend some more time figuring out what I want to be known for in this specific thing, because while I think podcasting, well, I love doing it and I love being part of the community. I don't know that, when people think of this meetup, oh, Ellery's the podcasting guy. I don't know if I want that to be what I'm known for. I don't know. Well, when you think of me, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, but no pressure. When you think of Ellery, what do you think of, Laura?
I think of an entrepreneur. An online entrepreneur that's doing great things and has grown incredibly, and a risk taker, but that paid off. That's what I think of when I think of you. When I see you on my feed, that's like, oh, he's inspirational. He accomplished what he said he was going to accomplish. Not risk free, but you did it. So that's what I think of and not necessarily Ellery podcasting. I mean, you are a podcaster, but that's just part of your machine, let's say, right? That's not the only thing you do. Does that answer?
Yeah. It does, and it gives me something I have to live up to. I guess I can't. I need to. If I have any negativity posts coming up, I need to scrap them.
No. What you did is great. I was just saying that you're overall. It doesn't always have to be all happy stories, because all the other stories are lessons that we all need to learn, and it helps us. But it's to what you were saying, that doesn't necessarily have to be. It's what you're asking yourself is really important and is relevant for deciding what your topic is. How do you want to be known? Like, what do you want to be associated with? Because this will definitely tie you to that community, right? So for me, I love being associated with podcasting because, for those of probably most of your audience will not know, but I am podcasting in Spanish. So for me, that's huge because it's a very small community of podcasters that do it in Spanish. So again, that's why I'm very proud to be associated with podcasting. It's not because, I have a blog and I do other things, but it's because I feel almost like a trailblazer because there's not a lot of us. But again, it's a very good question you're asking yourself is, how would you like to be known? Would you like to be associated as, Ellery is a podcaster, Ellery is an entrepreneur, Ellery is an online business wizard? That's a really good question.
The online business wizard. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, especially when it's about this, because as you were talking about, like, man, well, I talk about getting your first product out the door. I talk about writing ebooks. There's a wide variety, so I know I'm going to have to do some more thinking of this. But on the other hand, podcasting is on the rise. There was a article that Donald Kelly shared just today.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was on, I don't know where it was, but over the last 5 years, podcasting has tripled from 25 million downloads to 75 million downloads. So do you want to piggyback off of that? I came to you for answers, Laura, and you're leaving me with more questions than I had.
I feel bad.
Than when I started. No, it's awesome though. But you had mentioned you had launched the podcast and you have your blog, and I've been waiting for. I want to understand it, but I've been looking for your Spanish podcast since we met a few months ago. Can you give us the name, where we can find it, where we can find you?
Yeah. So the name is Latinisa Digital, and this Latinisa with a Z and digital, and that's just the name of the podcast. And I'm already in iTunes. I was so excited to see that it was finally live. And I have it on my blog, which is latinizadigital.com. And there's a podcast category there, and they're all there. Again, they're in Spanish, and they're about, my podcast is about Latinos entrepreneurs who have find great success in their online or offline businesses, but they've definitely used social media and digital marketing to get there. And so I'm kind of getting the tips and strategies off of them, in addition to their, their all inspiring stories. But how can other Latinos use their tips and strategy for their own businesses, and social and stuff? This comes out of people that I know, and I'm like, hey, why are you doing this? Because I'm very passionate about social media, and I'm like, hey, are you doing this? Are you doing that? I'm like, no, I really have to do it. And I found that there was not that much information in Spanish, so that's how it kind of came to be.
That's awesome. Would you I guess I guess I need to run through some of my standard questions, give you the Empower Podcast rundown. But before I do that, would you recommend, or would you suggest someone who is kind of on the edge of starting their own meetup group like this? Would you recommend it?
Yes, without a doubt. Do it. Just obviously what we talked about, to kind of help the success of it, just think what we just said, think really what you want to accomplish with it. Another thing is, for example, you said, well, in my area, think about what will serve your area too. For example, we found that there weren't any podcasting group in South Florida. So we're like, oh, perfect. That will be us. And so maybe that's another route of deciding how to serve your community and your group better. Just think about those few things, like what do you want to get out of it? How would you like to be associated with what category, right? And go for it. Again, co-organizers are great, but if that's not your thing, then just do it, right? Like Nike says, just go for it.
I love that. If you're spending 3 weeks trying to find a co-organizer or a co-founder, it's probably time to just suck it up and do it on your own. It's just a stall tactic.
Yeah, and also exactly. And then also you just get it started, and as you get members, you find your co-organizer, someone that will be just as excited as you and wants to be, a bigger part of it. So yeah, just go for it, and then just don't let anything stop you. Just kind of have your little game plan, and it's not that complicated really. Just find a small spot. Doesn't have to be fancy. Just get people together, and then you'll grow.
Oh man, I love that. I think that might be the intro to the show right there. Aww. Laura, what does the word empower mean to you?
Empower, well, to me, as a woman, it's to have independence, to have control over your situation or whatever it is that you want to control. But either if it's your finances, your love life, whatever it is, or as a parent. So it's feeling power and having the power to make your own decisions and to feel strong in your own skin, in who you are at the moment. So that's, to me, is empowered.
Awesome. What was the last movie you saw?
I'm a mother of a toddler, and it's horrible. I don't go out we used to go out every Saturday to the movies, so I haven't in a long time. So it's sad. I don't remember the last movie I saw in the movie theater, but I was just, an example is I was just trying to watch 12 Years a Slave on the TV, and it's a long movie. So my daughter woke up in the middle of it, and I didn't want her to be around the language. So I said, okay, forget it. So that was my last half movie that I watched.
There you go. And Laura, my final question for you, what is one tip or piece of advice that you can give somebody who is maybe wanting to start an online business, wanting to start a podcast, or maybe even thinking about starting a meetup in their community, just looking to get out of what they're doing and try something new? What's one tip or piece of advice that you could give that person?
We were just saying right now, just go for it, because we all, and I fall into this, we all go and start making excuses for why we're not doing what we say we're going to do or what we want to do. And most of the times what we know we have to do. So just go for it. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to leave your job right away. You don't have to spend lots of money on it right away. Just start baby steps, but just move forward. Always move forward, and I promise it'll pay off, and you will grow and you see things change. So just start little. Don't get overwhelmed with the possibilities of having to do all or nothing. Just start little baby steps, and we'll get you there. Just start.
I love that. I love that too, Laura. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I know you're about to run to a lunch meeting or something. Just throw a real quick, where can the audience connect with you if they want to find out? You mentioned your Latiniza Digital. Where can we connect you online, social media, something like that?
Yeah, the best way to get to me is Twitter. I'm always there. Is at Elgueta Laura, and that's ELGUETA Laura. And I'm always there, and you can always reach out to me there. It's the easiest and fastest way, and I'm very responsive, and I love connecting with people on Twitter. That's probably my go-to place. And then we're always on Facebook at facebook.com/Latiniza Digital, and on the blog. But Twitter, if you just want to touch base with me and quickly, or meet me, or I'm always there. So just connect with me there.
Awesome. And I'll put a link to all of those in the show notes. So thank you again, Laura, for showing me how to get started and giving me as many questions to think about on my own. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Man, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Laura, again, thank you for being on the show. And if you are in Florida, you absolutely need to connect with Laura and what she's doing. As she mentioned at the very beginning, our mutual friend, and you may know him too, Jared Easley, helps put this together. And he also helped found the podcast movement, which is an incredible conference, which, by the way, tickets go on sale here in just a few weeks. I think it's at the beginning of February. If you are interested in using my affiliate link to buy your tickets for Podcast Movement, I would greatly appreciate it. You can go to ellerywells.com/podcast movement. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And at those same place, you can get those show notes. Remember the URL? empoweredpodcast.com/68. You can also download the free PDF guide with all the tips and tricks that Laura shared, and a checklist where you can start creating your live in-person meetups almost immediately, and you can go right through that process and really set yourself up for success. You can start building your brand, building your influence, and take those online relationships and add them to your offline network of friends that you can call and count on. So this was part 1 of this series about creating live events. In upcoming episodes, we have Lou Mangello, who started WDW Radio. His podcast has been nominated almost every year since he started, has been nominated for the best travel podcast. He's a huge Walt Disney World fan, and he is an expert at creating live events. He even started a cruise, or he had a cruise for Walt Disney World fans and people who were in his audience, as well as Keith Griffiths, my friend who started If Simply. He created a meetup group with over 1,000 people up in Boston, and it is going to be an awesome episode with him as well. And then we will round up this series on creating live events with Jason Gaynard, who started Mastermind Talks, an absolutely incredible series, and it's very high ticket item, and he's going to share some really great information on how he did that and how it really turned into a fantastic business for him. So stay tuned in those episodes. I can't wait to share that information with you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Ellery Wells. We'll see you next week.